get ready with me while I tell you the story about the girl that lied about her identity and disappeared in 8th grade. So I was new to the school because I moved across the country, so I had to go to orientation. And she was also new. We didn't have any sort of conversation that day, but we kind of made polite eye contact and saw each other and both knew, like, okay, if we see each other in the hall, it's like, let's say hi. So the next day was school, and I hadn't seen her up until my second to last class, which was gym. I walked in and she was sitting on the bleachers, and I was like, oh, no way, like, cool, I know someone in this class, great. And I kind of sit next to her, but not close enough for a conversation. I'm very introverted, like, starting a conversation is actually one of my biggest fears. So I was like, let me just sit close enough to her, like, I don't know. And after the gym teacher was, like, done giving everything out with syllabus stuff, I started walking to the locker room, and I was kind of walking slow, like, hoping that she would, like, catch up, and then I was like, screw it. And so I kind of, like, was like, hi, and we started talking, and then we walked to the locker room together. So while we're in the locker room, we're just talking, getting to know each other. Afterwards, I mean, we both went our separate ways, but I got her number, and we both exchanged Snapchats, and we were just, like, texting back and forth once we got home, and it was pretty normal. About 4 days went by, and I had invited her over because at this point I had met a few friends, and I knew one person because we were on the same soccer team. Because before I started school, I tried out for a soccer team. One of the girls happened to go to the same school as me at the time, which was perfect. So I knew someone, and I had met a few friends, and I was like, do you guys want to come over? And they made it work. She was like, no, like, I can't. And I was like, okay. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. I mean, if you can't come over, you can't come over. And so the next week I saw her at school, and we were like, oh, we missed you. And she was like, yeah, I just couldn't come. And also, important part of the story, we played Fortnite together. So I had that too. This is important to the story, I promise. And so she's like, yeah, I just couldn't come. And I'm like, all good. We can always just do something another time. And we keep hanging out throughout school. And one day she just doesn't show up. And I'm just like, okay. And I text her, I'm like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, my mom's boyfriend is just doing some weird stuff, and, like, I don't know, like, I just couldn't come to school today. And I'm like, okay, it's all good. Respectfully, I mean, we're in 8th grade, so in my head I'm like, oh, I don't think I need to know all that, but I hope she's okay. And the second day comes by, and I don't text her this time because I'm like, okay, she told me that, I don't really want to, like, bother her, but she actually texted me. She was like, so I'm transferring schools. And I read that text, I'm actually in class, and I'm like, huh? I'm a little sad now because we were actually, I know it had only been like a week and a half, but we were getting pretty close. We would hang out all the time, like in school, because you could never hang out outside of school, which I was young. I don't know if 8th grade is young like that, but things weren't clicking to me, I guess, at the time. And I was like, dang. And, like, I had met a few friends, but we were like this because we were both new. So we were both kind of like, okay, at least we have each other. And I was like, you're transferring? She's like, yeah, you know, I just have to. And I was like, okay. Halloween was kind of coming up too. So we were planning Halloween costumes together because she wasn't moving out of the state or anything. She was actually moving a few towns over. It was like a 30-minute drive. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I'd be down to do a Halloween costume. And we still texted a little bit until everything got erased. Everything. Her Snapchat didn't exist. Instagram, gone. Fortnite, gone. Number, blocked. Literally everything. Everyone else who had met her, blocked. Like, there was no trace of her. Even if you looked her up, like, on a different account, like, my friends and I were like, let's look her up. Gone. It made absolutely no sense. None at all. And long story short, she told me the school that she was transferring to. When I was like, wait, no way, you're transferring? She was like, yeah, I'm going here. Some people reached out to us and like, do you know this girl? And we're like, no. Well, like, yeah, but not really, because we thought we knew her, and now it's like, and they're like, yeah, she reached out that she was coming to this school, showed up, and then never came back. I don't know. You're probably wondering how they knew how to reach out to us. One of the girls that I had happened to literally become friends with ran like this account for our middle school, and some people from that school found it, like desperately trying to see like, do you guys know anything about this girl? Because she told them like, oh, I came from this middle school. So they reached out to the page, and one of my friends ran it, and she was like, we don't know anything. All of us are blocked. All of us. So yeah, that's pretty much it to this story. It's actually very, very weird. And I remember struggling just with the whole move, my mom was still living in our old house at the time because she had to finish work before moving across the country. So it was just my dad and I. It was a very like weird time, and so I would go to the counselor and just talk about that and just how moving has been kind of hard. And I also brought up, like, I met a new friend here who was also a transfer, but she happened to leave. So my counselor was just obviously asking a few questions, like, about, oh, like, how'd you guys meet? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, just an orientation and stuff. And she's like, oh, who is it? So I was just continuing to talk about it. I was like, yeah, she just moved for personal reasons. I don't know. And she was like, huh. She was like, kind of rethinking, she was kind of recounting like the transfers, because she was a guidance counselor, but she also helped with kids who were like coming in and like getting acclimated to the school. So she was like, what's her name? And I told her. She looked her up in the system and was like, there's nothing there. Now I'm kind of freaking out. I'm like, am I crazy? And I'm like, no, she had other friends here, like she met other people. And I'm like, what is going on? So now my guidance counselor is like, let me go ask a different guidance counselor who she would have had, because it was by last name. So she's like, maybe she's not coming up on my system because her last name doesn't fall within like the names that she's responsible for. So she goes and asks, and that woman's like, And even if you transfer, I mean, you're not just deleted from the system. It'll show like transferred schools. And they're like, we don't know. So I go back to my friends with this info and I'm like, guys, I don't know what happened. She legit just disappeared. And now it's kind of become a thing at the school. And they're like, where did this girl go? To this day, I don't know. Once a year, I'll look her up to see like if she ever just like returned, but nope. On a real note, I was like super sad about this at the time. I was just like, wow. She just like left and changed her name, or was that her real name? Or I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if this is gonna get any traction, but if it does, I don't want to share the videos I have with her. I have 2 videos and her face is like perfectly shown in them. It was 8th grade, so we were playing around with filters. So you can clearly see her face. I don't know if this has happened to anyone. Like, I don't really want to say her name. Unless if this does do something and someone else had a similar experience around that time, then maybe, because it's been years. Now I'm a junior in college and I don't think about it at all. I just thought this would be a funny story time. But also, should we uncover this? I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And moral of the story, this might be the reason why I have trust issues. I don't know. Okay, bye.
Get ready with me while you get to know me. I was born in a super small town in China called Pingjiang, and I was in a foster home because of China's one-child policy. Nobody wanted girls. They're lost. When I was 2 years old, I was adopted by my family in Canada. My mom flew over to China with her sister, picked me up, and brought me home to my dad, my older sister, and my older brother, who are also adopted from different families. My mom and dad were both pilots and met in pilot school, which I think is the cutest thing ever. I had such a blessed childhood where I could be myself, creative, have fun with my siblings. I had the best example of love in front of me, my parents. I had a roof over my head, amazing meals. I got new presents on Christmas. What more could you ask for? When I was first adopted and I got to Canada, my parents were still building our house. My dad was building it with his own hands with some of his friends. Insert picture. We lived on an acreage. I wouldn't say it was a farm because like we're not farm people, but we did have farm animals. We had some horses, some chickens, donkeys. I had a pet cat. When I was 5.5, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer. She never smoked a day in her life, but unfortunately, life happens like that sometimes, and shortly after, when I was 6, she passed away. I still remember the day like it was yesterday. I got picked up from 2nd grade by my cousin. I thought that he was taking us out for a surprise lunch, but we ended up heading to the hospital. I still thought it was just like a routine everyday visit, but then we walked into the hospital. They brought us into this small room and I just saw my dad on his knees crying, and that's when I knew that it was not going out for lunch or just a regular visit, because still to this day, that's the only time I've ever seen my dad cry. I feel like anyone who's lost someone important to them at a young age can relate to. It's really hard to understand what's actually going on and the seriousness of the situation. I remember I would always lay in bed with my mom and she'd kind of accepted the fact that she wasn't going to get better, but I obviously hadn't, and I just remember she would try to like console me and make me feel better and try to explain to me what was happening. At the time, I was really living in the moment, but now that I'm a lot older now, I can really look back and appreciate how much my dad was doing to provide for my whole entire family. Not only was he taking care of my mom, putting on her compression socks, carrying her oxygen tank, he was taking care of me and my siblings, making us breakfast before we went to school, walking us out to the school bus in -30 and making snow circles for us, while also being a pilot, flying across the world so the bills were paid. I'm gonna start crying. My dad has set such a high standard of how a man should show up and take care, provide for his family. I feel like he was giving all of us 110%, but maybe like not putting himself first. So now I love taking care of my dad. Shout out to my dad because I definitely had and still have a little bit of attitude sometimes. Some people in my family might say I can get a little hangry once in a blue moon. I don't know anything about that though. Being a pilot means that my dad was away for 4 to 6 days at a time, depending on the layover. Sometimes he was taking red-eye flights, so he would leave at like 3 in the morning, come say bye to me, go to the airport, go fly to Cancun, stay there for a couple of days. But my dad didn't want a nanny to take care of us. He wanted someone he knew that he trusted and would really like care for us. And my older cousins from Toronto moved out to the west to Calgary to help raise me and my siblings. Since we lived on an acreage, we had a big red barn, and my dad renovated the top of the barn to be an apartment for them. They deserve an award because they were probably in their mid to late 20s, and they packed up their whole life to come help raise me and my siblings. So giving you your roses, Sarah and Audrey, I love you. Then a couple years later, they had their own kids. They had 2 twin boys, Frank and Bay, and then a little girl named Ruby. And since I helped raise them and also grew up alongside them, they're like my little siblings. And I'm so excited because I'm going back home for Christmas and I cannot wait to see my family. Since I was always the baby of the family, when there were new babies of the family, that was a little hard for me because your girl likes attention, okay? In middle school and high school, I did not have a good experience. I was bullied. I was too embarrassed to talk to my parents about it because I was like, I don't want them to know that I don't have any friends. Like, I don't want them to know that people think I'm weird. Now, I'm the cool girl. So I wish I could go back and hug my younger self and tell her, it's gonna be okay. Like, those people who peaked in high school are going to be the ones stalking and watching and living through you now. But obviously my younger self did not know that. I remember there was this one girl who all the boys thought was like the it girl. She would make fun of me for having a dead mom. What the fuck was wrong with you? I'm still a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, because if I didn't have that hard time in middle school and high school, I wouldn't learn to be as confident as I am today. And everyone that peaked in high school are losers now. I moved away for college, went to business school, best decision of my life, reinvented myself in a new city, and then took it one step further, and now I'm living in Australia. If you're ever doubting why something is happening or why something didn't happen yet, trust in the timing, because I promise you everything works out. Thank you guys for listening. I love when influencers share their stories and what makes them them, so I thought that I would do that today. Stay tuned because I'm launching my business soon. Bye guys, love.
Hey baddies, get ready with me for absolutely nothing. Any girlfriend wanna, cause I ain't trying to control her. She called me, she wanna say. Alright y'all, I'm doing my makeup because I don't know why it's 6:30 on a school night, but I don't care. Okay, we're gonna start off by, what? English, hello? We're gonna start off with this contour stick in shade medium by Makeup by bro, my English is off, bro. So I'm gonna make TikToks and look hot as fuck. That's my plan. Anyways, in the meantime, y'all, I can give y'all a little story time about how I got caught sneaking out. This was when I was 14, and I lived with my brother's baby mama. My best friend had called me, and she was like, hey, Kylie, you want to sneak out and go see blank? I can't say his name, but just know y'all know him really well. Anyways, I was like, well, duh, the fuck, because I went and seen him the night before that, and we were like going back to back, you know, seeing each other. So tell me why she pulls up, okay? So like I lived on like a dead end road. Like you go down my street and there's only like one street. Like it's not a neighborhood. Like it's a dead end road, right? She pulls up and she fucking this bitch. She fucking has her headlights on. So I'm calling her and I'm like, bro, like turn off your fucking headlights. Like what the fuck are you doing, bro? You're gonna get me caught. I'm gonna get in trouble. And she just thought it was a fucking joke. Like bitch, ain't nothing funny. So I'm walking outside and my brother's baby mama's sister is next door at the neighbor's house and she sees me and I'm like, oh shit. And me and her were beefing. I was not cool with that girl. And I was like, oh shit. And I just took a run for it. I was like, no, I'm gonna go see my little boo thing tonight. I am not going back inside. I'm leaving. So I'm starting to run to the car. I get in the fucking car and I'm like, bro, I say her name. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Turn off your fucking headlights, bitch. You're gonna get me caught up. And then she finally turns her headlights off. I was like, bitch, ain't nothing changed. The fuck. And my neighbor came outside with a gun because like usually like they know the cars that come down there on that street, you know. And that was a car they didn't know. So he came outside like acting like, what the fuck is this shit, you know? So after that, I get in the car and we're leaving. I told her to back up, don't go any more closer to my house, back up into a U-turn. So we go to Airplane's house. I can't say his name, but you know, if my ex-best friend, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. So after that, we get in the room and I'm like chilling, and this time I brought my phone, right? And tell me why my brother's baby mama, not even like 30 minutes of me being there, bro. 30 minutes, dog. She calls me and she was like, Kylie, like, you need to come back home. And I was like, why, bitch? And she was like, because your dad knows. And I was like, fuck. So at this point, I just accepted my fate. I was like, bro, I'm so fucked. I'm done, bro. Like, my life's over. Like, I don't got nothing else to live for. And they were saying, like, why don't you, someone just called me. I don't know where I left off. But I think I was, like, at the part where I was like, no, like, I need to go home or, like, it's going to get worse because, like, my dad will literally call the cops on me and report me as an runaway. So I was like, I gotta go home. And my best friend was like, okay, I'll stay. But her little boo thing was going to take me home. And my boo thing came with me, obviously. And so I didn't live far from his house. So it was, like, probably, like, a 5-minute drive. And when I got there, like, they parked, like, at the church that was, like, right in front of my street. And I told my little whatever, I was like, so you want to walk with me? And I was like trolling. And he was like, hell nah, bro, hell nah. You're not finna kill me, da 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 da. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But like, and like, when we got there, like, I was like, I obviously was gonna make him walk with me because, like, the fuck, I'm not trying to get him beat up by my dad. So he like gives me a hug or whatever, and I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna see you again. But like, serious, like, I didn't know when I was gonna see him again, bro. And then he tells me, like, he hugs me and he's like, Kylie, you'll see me again. And I didn't see him for 2 years after that. 2 years. 2 fucking years. And then I walked in the driveway and my dad's like standing there in the driveway, and we had like a long ass driveway. And I was walking down the driveway and yeah, he grabbed my phone out of my hand and shattered it with the hammer. So I didn't text someone and I didn't see him for 2 years. So, and after that I was pretty much like on lockdown and I couldn't do nothing. I wasn't going to school either. I stopped going to school because, like, the fuck, like, oh my god. But yeah, that's that little story time about how I got caught sneaking out. It was a horrible experience. And I told my dad, I never told my dad who I was with, and he still doesn't know who I was with to this day. But I told him that I was with my best friend, obviously, and we went to McDonald's that was right up the road. And because he asked me, he said, how'd you get home so fast? Where were you at? And I was like, oh my god, this is a perfect chance for me to lie. I was like, I was at McDonald's because I lived close to the guy's house that we went to, like, really fucking close. So I just told him, I was like, we were going to McDonald's to get fucking food. We were hungry, bro. What do you expect me to do? But yeah, that's my little story time, y'all. I have a lot more story times about my ex-best friend. We were wild, dog. Like, we were wild. We did a lot together. We didn't give a fuck. It was our like prime. 2023 was our fucking prime. Don't play. Like, I literally knew I was testing my luck when I snuck out 2 nights in a row. Like, one rule, never sneak out 2 nights in a row. Ever. It's never good luck. It's bad luck. Like, you will get caught. Like, I'm not even trying to put juju on you, but every time I've snuck out twice in a row, I've gotten caught. Every time. Like, I'm always lucky the first time, but the second time, I'm like, I didn't get caught the first time. I'm not going to get caught this time, right? No. Don't have that mindset, because you will get caught. But... Oh, and you wanna know how my dad caught me? It was because my brother's baby mama's sister, that bitch that was in the neighbor's yard, she went to my dad's room and was like, I seen a little girl walking down the street and I just want to make sure it's not Kylie. I was the only little girl that lived on that street. She knew what the fuck she was doing. She was being messy as fuck, but Alexa next. She was being messy as fuck. I wouldn't have got caught. Oh my god. But I've only got caught twice in my life sneaking out. Other than that, I've never gotten caught. That was the only time, and that was like in 2023. And then the second time I got caught was like this year, which wasn't even that long ago. It really wasn't, but that was the only time I ever got caught. I've never get caught. And I can also tell you a story time about how when me and my best friend snuck out and we came back home and her dad was awake and we had to sneak back in the house while her dad was awake in the living room. Oh my god, that story was fucking insane. I can tell you all this because my best friend is literally, or my ex-best friend was literally a fucking genius. Like, y'all need to take tips from her. Like, that girl, oh my god. I learned everything from her. I learned everything from her. Because when I first started being friends with her, I was innocent as fuck. Y'all know, have y'all ever watched that movie 13? Yeah. She was my, that girl's name, I forgot what her name is. Alright y'all, but that's the little get ready with me and story time. Anyways, bye guys, love y'all.
Get ready with me where I'll tell you the story of how I almost got kidnapped and raped when I was 11 years old. Okay, so this story goes all the way back in 2013. I was 11 years old. Cute little Megan. This is the picture of when it happened. So it takes back in 2013. And it happened in the morning time. I'd say around 8:30 in the morning. I woke up to go pee. Mind you, I was sleeping in my brother's room at the time because he had like a bunk bed and I would sleep on the bottom of his floor. I go pee in my mom's bathroom. I'm just peeing. I'm just doing my business. The door's shut. And then all of a sudden this guy just opens the door. I'm like, what the fuck? So at the time, my mom, she would have a lot of guys over. To go into a lot of detail, she would have a lot of black men over, okay? Like, oh my gosh, like this is one of my mom's boyfriends and he's fucking sneaking in the bathroom. Or I thought maybe he just accidentally just went in the bathroom when I went in the bathroom. Okay, so I close the door again while I do my business. And then he opens it again and turns the light off and on, off and on. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, where the hell is my mom? After that, I just wash my hands, you know, I finish up my business. So I go back into my bedroom. I try to go back to sleep. So I go back to sleep or whatever. 10 minutes later, I thought my mom was coming in my room. Like, I thought she was crawling on the bed to say, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry he did that. That's one of the guys I'm messing with or whatever. So I thought it was my mom crawling in my bed, like hugging on me. No, it was the guy. Guy crawled onto my bed and he started like touching down there. That's when I like literally fucking jumped up, okay? Like I literally jumped up out of my bed and I screamed as loud as I fucking could. Like I'm talking to you, I screamed as high as Mariah Carey. The guy was so shocked at how loud I screamed. He was like, what the fuck? I'm like, bitch, you weren't expecting that, weren't you? Huh? Yeah, he was like, no shoot. Literally screamed again. I was like, ah! That guy was out of there. So while he's running out of my door, out the front door or whatever, I literally run so fast to my brother's room and I'm like, oh my god, Nate, somebody just fucking raped me. I was 11. I thought like just touching down there was like rape or whatever. At the time, I didn't know it was just like sexual assault. Me and my brother were like this. Like we were so in shock. We were like shaking. We didn't know what the fuck to do. At the time, like we didn't know if he was 100% out of the house. Me and my brother are looking around his room, just trying to find anything possible to protect us. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. So I grabbed one of his rocks. It was like, you know, like that big. It was sharp or whatever. Brother grabbed one of his trophies. So where we lived, we had a front door and then we had a back door. So this is like my brother's room, right? And then here's the kitchen, and there's a back door. So I was like, oh my god, Nate, we can go out the back door. Like, we were building up the courage to like get out. It was just so scary. Okay, so me and my brother are outside. We ran out the back door, and we rang our neighbor's doorbell, and her name was Cheryl. She was like our second mom because our mom was always gone at work or either partying or whatever the fuck she was at. Yeah, she was like our second mom, and we rang that doorbell like 1,000 fucking times. We finally answered, and she was like on her porch. She was like, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? And me and my brother like, call the police, Megan just got raped. We're like young, so like, you know, I thought that was rape at the time, but it wasn't. She was like, okay, come upstairs. It's just like fucking crazy. So we go upstairs to her house. She calls the police, and then I call my mom, you know, tell her like, you gotta come home, like this just happened, somebody broke in. And I was trying to ask her, I was like, was that one of your boyfriends? Like, did you have one of the guys over or whatever? And she was like, no, we didn't. Like, no. Literally everybody comes. The police, criminal investigation, literally everybody came. There was like the yellow tape around everything. So the police come up to my neighbor's apartment, and they asked me like, what happened? Like, are you okay? They like recorded the whole thing. But yeah, they asked me a bunch of questions. I don't really remember like everything, but I was like, yeah, I'm okay. It's just I'm really scared. I was like, yeah, I got raped. And that's like what really caught their eye. They asked me like what happened, and I told them like he crawled on my bed and he like dug down my pants and like was touching there. So they let me know like, no, you didn't get raped, like you got sexually assaulted, you got groped on. I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad they told me that, because like, you know, I was 11 years old. So now we go down to my apartment, or my mom's apartment. I'm outside, my brother's outside. They're asking both of us questions. This is where it gets really fucked up. Now like another group asks me questions about like what happened. Oh, I got sexually assaulted and somebody broke in or whatever. And they were like, so who is this guy? What's his name? And I'm like, I don't know his name. Why would I know his name? They're like, we just don't really believe your story. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't believe my story. I'm 11 years old. How can I be making this shit up? The criminal investigation people. So first they look at my room, and I didn't even notice that the guy came through on my window. So this is like the layout of like the apartment. We were on the first floor, right? So here's my window, right? And here's like the level of the ground. I look at my window, and my screen is busted out, and there's like one of the neighbor's chairs that he used to climb into my window. And my mom said to them like she noticed there's money missing. The funny part is there's like a bunch of food missing in the fridge. It's like, what the hell? He just took fucking food? Okay. But then the people are trying to say to me that I made this whole thing up, and I put the chair there. I busted my screen open, and I stole my mom's money. I stole her purse. It just baffles my mind. Like, what do you mean 11-year-old girl is going to make up that whole thing, wake up in the middle of it? Like, where would I even find the time to wake up, put a chair there, bust my screen out, take my mom's money, take her purses, take food? Like, it's not adding up. What the fuck do you mean you guys don't believe me? They were like, tell the truth, tell the truth, tell the whole story, tell the truth. And I'm like, whoa, like, what's going on? Like, how did this, like, flip the script? Okay. All right. Okay, so now I remember my grandma coming through, and she was not playing about me. She was like, she's telling the truth. Why would an 11-year-old make all this up and do all this? Like, it doesn't make sense. So my grandma and my mom were trying to back me up, and my brother, because my brother saw the guy too. My brother heard the guy. So after all that, they were like, okay, we'll look more into it. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna close out this investigation. We're not really finding anything. Like, we'll put your like file, whatever, into the police station, or I don't know. I can't remember. At this point, like, my grandma, me, my brother, and mom were just, like, fed up because they weren't believing me or my brother. All of that happened just for the police and everybody not to believe me besides my family. But me and my brother were so traumatized. Like, I'm telling you, the amount of PTSD we have just from that one night is insane. We did not sleep in our rooms for, like, 3 months straight. We would sleep on our mom's floor because of how scared we were. And, like, I just remember the PTSD being so fucking bad. I remember just hearing the smallest amount of noises and just waking up out of my sleep and start screaming and crying because I thought it was him, like, breaking back in. But mind you, it was just my mom getting ready for work. So yeah, now that I'm 22 years old, like, I'm totally healed from it. I still have a little bit of PTSD of people, like, breaking in or whatever, but it's, like, not as bad as it used to be. the look is completed. The story is pretty much all done. There's more details to the story, but I don't want to get like too into it. But yeah, that's the story. If you guys want to know more stories, or if you like this, let me know, because I literally have so much more stories from my childhood, so much more stories from my high school experience. Like, yeah. Bye, guys.
Okay, get ready with me while I tell you about my psychotic roommate who said I threatened to stab and kill him. Okay, so me and my roommate weren't really like that close in the beginning because we were both random and it took us like a while to warm up to each other. But eventually we did, and I started like introducing her around to my friends, but during this time I guess she wasn't really making friends, so like my friends like quickly became her friends. And so it kind of like became this bond with me, two of my other friends, and my roommate, and it was kind of like the four of us were a very tight bond. But just keep that in mind that like the four of us were really tight. Like one night we literally stayed up from 10 p.m. all the way up until 5 a.m. like just like telling each other everything. And also with that, the four of us, we would all go out with each other. But one night my roommate met this guy at the club, and I guess they like exchanged numbers and stuff, and they began talking. Okay, this is like pretty early in the school year, so we hadn't had like our roommate like agreement actually made yet. But one morning I wake up and he's just in the room, and I'm like, what? And so after that incident, I kind of sit on a ground rule. I was like, okay, that was not okay from now on. Like, you have to let me know in advance if someone's coming to like the room last minute. Now, keep that in mind. So we fast forward to 2 weekends ago, and it's Parents Weekend. Okay, both of our parents were in town for Parents Weekend, and so we were like both busy the whole weekend, but she still went out with a couple of our other friends Friday night. But on Friday, I'm awakened to a call at 4:30 in the morning from my roommate. And I'm like, yes, and she answers the phone, and she's like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm sleeping over at our friend's dorm tonight. Is that okay? And I was like, I just want to let you know. And so I answer the phone, and she's like, okay, I'm just calling to let you know I'm staying at like our friend's dorm tonight. And I'm like, okay, but like could have been a text low-key. But after she called me, I like could not go back to sleep. Like I was like up for the whole rest of the night, just up. And so Saturday comes around, and she goes to Universal for the whole day with her parents, and I spend the day with my parents. And so Saturday night comes back, and we finally see each other, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so tired. After you called me last night, like I could not go back to sleep. Like once I'm up, like it's so annoying, da 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 da. And then she's like, oh yeah, like I'm so tired too. I spent the whole day at Disney. I'm exhausted, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, I have a 5K I've been training for with my dad tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, so I have to go to sleep. And so we both go to sleep, and that's that. That was not just that. I awaken at 3:30 from a call from my roommate. And so I answer, I'm like, hello, like last time I saw you, you were literally asleep. And she's like, oh, you're on speakerphone, but can I bring this guy over to the room at 3:30 a.m.? And I'm like half asleep, so I'm like, what? Like, what are you saying? Then she goes, can a guy come over? And then like she pauses, and she like whispers, and she's like, help me get rid of him. Like I need you to help me get rid of him. And so at this point, I'm like thinking she's in danger, so I'm like, oh my god, like yeah, come back to the room. Now when she comes back to the room, she like is whispering to a person. She goes like, shh, wait by the door. And she runs over to my bed over here, and her bed's on that side, and she goes, no matter what he says, like say no, he cannot stay here. I don't want him in this room tonight. And me being the good roommate that I am, I was like, okay, yeah, like let me help you out, let me like bring him in, like so I can tell him to get out. And so he comes in, and he walks over to my bed. He's like, hey, my name is so-and-so. And I was like, oh, my name's Hampton, but I actually like don't want you in here tonight. Like I'm really tired, I have stuff in the morning, and like you have to go. I've never seen a man more butthurt. He goes, what? No, like you have to let me stay. Like it's supposed to be cool. It's chill. And so I'm like, no, like, I don't even know you. You have to get out of here. And he's like, oh, we can get to know each other. What did you just say to me? And so I'm like, no, leave. And he and I are just going back and forth. And while all this is happening, my roommate is texting me, and I can try and put like inserts somewhere. And she's like, tell him no, like, tell him to leave, tell him to get out. And I'm like, girl, I'm trying, please help, please help. And then at some point he's like, oh, you're just so rude and commandeering and dominating of the room, you don't even care what your roommate says. And I said, okay, then let's. And she goes, oh, well, my roommate doesn't want you here, but I do, so I don't know. Like, excuse me? And like at that point, I'm pissed. I text her, I was like, I just gave you an out. Why would you dig yourself further into this? Like, I'm trying to help you out. And she's like, sorry, but now this guy like thinks he has a right to be in the room because my roommate said he could be in the room. And so him and I go back and forth again until I threaten to call an RA. And mind you, like, I don't know who this kid is. I don't even know if he goes to our school. And so of course he's like, okay, I'll leave. So he leaves. Why does my roommate follow him out of the room? So all that get him out of here bullshit was not even. And so I'm like, what was even that? So I at this point just cannot go back to sleep. But it doesn't matter because my roommate texts me like a minute after and is like, can you call me, or are you up? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, can you call me and ask me to come back to the room? And so at this point I'm so annoyed, but what do I, because I'm such a good roommate, what do? I go ahead and call her. And so I call her and I'm like, hello, where are you? And she's like, you're on speakerphone. I'm out here on the boardwalk, like outside our dorm with what's his name? And I'm like, oh, when are you coming back? And she's like, oh, when do you want me to come back? I said, now. And she goes, oh, okay. And then she mutes herself for a few seconds and then she comes back. She's like, do you want me to come back alone? I was like, yes, come back alone. Like, what? And so she comes like flopping back into the room and she's like giggling. She goes, haha, like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I go, I'm gonna kill you. And so of course I sleep in and I miss my 5K I was training for with my dad. And so now I haven't talked to her all day Sunday, and it's reaching almost all day Monday. But on Monday night she came in, like I hadn't seen her all day, and she comes into the room and she's like searching for something or like trying to pack clothes together, and she's like slamming her wardrobe, she's running over like to the bathroom, and all this I have our two friends over that she's friends with too, and she's not speaking to them, she's not looking at them, she's not anything, like she's not even acknowledging that they're like in the room. And so after like she was being rude to our friends who like did nothing to her, I was like, okay, like now she has an attitude, like we gotta talk this out. And so Tuesday rolls around and I get a moment with her and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, I just have a lot going on right now, like I don't really want to talk about it. And I was like, oh, well then can we talk about like what happened Saturday night? And she's like, no, I don't want to talk about that either. And at this point, like I raised my voice. I'm like, you brought a random guy here, like, and disturbed me in the middle of my sleep to help me kick him out, and then you lie and you don't want to talk about it. And so that starts the screaming match. And so we're arguing. I'm like, why were you being rude? Like all I wanted is an apology and for you to take accountability. And she's like, well, I'm sorry, like I'm sorry, what do you want me to do about it? It's already passed, it already happened, like what do you want me to do? Mind you, all I wanted was an apology and accountability. But we're just screaming and she's just like, well, you're not perfect either. And I'm like, well, what do I do? She's like, well, sometimes you tell me to like kill myself. And I'm like, okay, I do say that, but like we play a lot of games and I'll say it in the setting of like, oh, you want a game, I'm jealous of you, like kill yourself. But I've also had people who don't like it come up to me and tell me to stop, and I have stopped. But she's never once like seemed uncomfortable with the joke or I had ever said anything about it. But I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll do better next time, like sorry. And then I'm like, okay, what else? And she's like, and also sometimes you rage bait me. And I do that, but again, I've kept doing, like she's never had a, like she's joked back with me about it, like you've never once mentioned I had a problem. But again, I'm like, you know what? I take accountability for my actions. I apologize. I'm sorry. And then I asked her, like, why were you being so rude to our friends who were in here? And she was like, oh, I heard they were, like, talking shit about me. And I was like, baby girl, we have been the closest friends ever. Like, why would you ever act like that? Like, that's so weird. And she just keeps making excuses. And at this point, I, like, don't want to hear it anymore. Like, our argument kind of fizzles out and she leaves the room. Okay, I'm out of time, but I don't know if you guys would even, like, want a part 2 to this or not, because it gets crazier. And basically she's in a victim support group right now for
Story time about how I flew 18 hours to Africa, and then less than 24 hours later we were forced to turn around and fly 18 hours back home. Yeah, you heard that right. So this whole story time started in 2019, Christmas time. My whole extended family is in St. Louis, and our Christmas tradition is we all go over to my grandma's and open presents and have like Christmas Eve dinner and then Christmas breakfast. And I think it was Christmas Eve dinner, we all had like a big envelope on our desks. And keep in mind, my dad's side of the family is pretty big. Like, I have a lot of cousins. We were all like, what is this? And after dinner, we opened the envelopes. My grandma was like, this is your guys' big present this year. Like, I've been wanting to do it, like a big trip for so long. And we open it, and it's a trip to Africa with literally my whole dad's side of the family, which is like, we've never done that before. So obviously we were all in shock. We were like like a safari. Like, it was a 2-week safari trip with all of us, and we were all like, oh my god, thank you so much. Like, we're so excited. And my grandma was so cute. Like, she had planned everything. She was so excited to like get our whole, like, this was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So the trip to Africa, we got the envelope Christmas of 2019, and the trip was scheduled for Christmas of 2020. So I'm sure you guys can figure out where this is going. So obviously we're planning for Africa throughout that year, and then obviously March of 2020 hits, and that's when COVID starts. So we ended up having to literally cancel the whole entire trip, and we all thought we would never be able to do it ever again. But my grandma actually was able to reschedule it. There were some changes to the trips. We weren't able to like go to some camps that we were going to go to before because we did have to like reschedule so late. But the new trip was scheduled for 2021. So I mean, we are awaiting this trip. It's been 2 years. We've been planning for a couple years for this trip. I have all my clothes. I'm so excited. So the time of the trip rolls around, and obviously COVID was still a thing, but we were allowed to travel now. We just had to get COVID tested before we left the country. So obviously that's what we did. My whole family got COVID tested. Every single one of us was negative when we left the country. So we were like, oh, we're set. Oh, and by the way, this trip was supposed to be Christmas of 2021. So it's like the travel day to go to Africa, and we board the plane, and I was the middle seat. It didn't like recline or anything, which is like totally fine. It's just like it was an 18-hour flight, and I was in between my sister and my cousin, which is like 2 great people to be in between. But a middle seat that doesn't recline on an 18-hour flight. And my biggest fear is planes. Let's throw that into the mix. Yeah, I didn't sleep a wink. Obviously, that does not compare to the rest of this story, because then we land in Africa. And the hotel we were staying in was literally right across the street from the airport. So it's not like we got to drive and see at least some of Africa. No, we literally walked across the street, and that's the hotel we were staying in for the night. So we land in South Africa, and we make our way over to the hotel that we're staying in. And not everyone was on the same flight, so we still had family flying in. But most of us were there, and the first thing they had us do when we got to the hotel was take another COVID test, because we were going to Botswana that next day, and in order to get into another country, like, obviously you had to COVID test. And I remember getting tested so vividly. They took us into this little back room. It was like a nightmare. It was like all white, like lit up, and they like took you to a room and they like swabbed you or whatever they did for COVID. You're like sitting there praying like, oh my god, I hope I don't have COVID. So testing was fine, and then we ended up having dinner at the hotel we were staying at, obviously, because we couldn't really go anywhere else. And I sat next to my little cousin at dinner, and like we were having a grand old time because I have so many cousins, and all of us were like reunited, which was so fun. But yeah, keep in mind I was sitting next to one of my little cousins at dinner. So dinner ends and we end up getting our results back like that night after dinner. And you will literally never believe my little cousin who I was sitting with next to at dinner tested positive for COVID. Yeah, like you can imagine my fear. I'm in Africa and my little cousin who I just sat next to at dinner tested positive for COVID. I don't know where he would have gotten it, somewhere in between our first test and our second test. Like, I literally don't know. So we're all like in our little like families in your hotel room, like, oh my God, like, what do we do? Like, this is so not ideal. And this was also back when you tested positive for COVID, you had to quarantine for 10 days. So we already knew that my little cousin was like cut off from the trip. Like, he had to stay in his hotel room for 10 days. Also, you had to have a parent with you, like, stay with you, because you can't just be left alone in Africa. So he would have to have, like, his mom with him, too, for those 10 days. And it doesn't end there. Remember how I said that not all my cousins were in Africa yet? Yeah, like, the next wave of family flies in, and one of my older cousins tests positive for COVID. So now we're 2 down from this trip and both need like a parent to stay with them. They can't just be abandoned in the hotel. So my grandma, I think, ended up like talking to the people who helped her like plan the trip and like everyone, I don't know, around us. And they were like, the people who tested negative for COVID can continue like into Botswana and continue the rest of the trip. But we ended up like declining that offer because we were scared for me, because I had sat next to my little cousin for probably 2 hours at dinner while he had COVID. So we were scared that one of me or like my 2 other sisters would test positive for COVID at like a random camp in the middle of like the bush in Africa, and we'd have to quarantine there for like 10 days. Interrupting this story to say that I never tested positive and neither did anybody else in my family, and we were taking all the precautions needed. And it was like 1 parent for every 4 kids, and so if people kept testing positive, we would run out of parents for people to like quarantine with. Because we were all kids, like me and my cousins, like we were mostly all kids. So it's like, I've already said this, but you can't just like leave them. Like, they need a parent with them. And if all of us start testing positive while the trip is going on and we're in the middle of Africa, like, that's not good. So this is when we decide to book a flight for the next morning back home. 18 hours back home. And you can imagine we are all in our hotel rooms sobbing because we thought this was going to be like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it's just, we were there for 24 hours. Not even. And we never even left the hotel. Like, I did not see a lick of Africa. I saw the airport. So I remember literally crying myself to sleep, and then we wake up the next morning, go straight back to that airport. And to make us feel better, our parents were like, you can buy anything in the airport. So I thought I would show you the one thing that I have to remember my 24 hours in Africa is this little stuffed animal. You can obviously see it was from Africa. Yeah, I saw the inside walls of the airport. This was the closest I ever got to seeing an animal that trip. Anyways, we continue on and we like make it to our gate and we're boarding the plane, and this might be the funniest part of the story. We like, my whole family boards the plane and the flight attendants like obviously like greet you while you're walking onto the plane. We had the same flight crew that flew us there, same flight crew was flying us back. That's how fast we turned around. And obviously they were looking at us and they were like, are you guys crazy? Why are you already flying back home? Because they remembered us. We were like, oh, honey, don't ask. So I set my little butt down back in the seat that I felt like I was just in 10 hours ago. And I ended up flying 18 hours back to America. Most of that flight was spent with tears of sadness and tears of fear because, again, I'm terrified of planes. So this was literally my worst nightmare. And mind you, my 2 cousins are still quarantined with one of their parents in Africa, and they had to spend Christmas there. Isn't that your dream Christmas? In a hotel in Africa with COVID. There is a happy ending to this story because by the literal grace of God, my amazing grandma was able to figure this all out, and we ended up going June of 2024. And let me just say, that was the trip of a lifetime. I will literally never take that for granted. It was life-changing. I'm just so glad I got to go on an experience like that, let alone with my entire family. Yeah, that's when I spent 24 hours in Africa. That's all. Bye.
Hi you guys, get ready with me while I drop some of my high school lore. So I fear this post is going to be a little bit risky because the people I'm going to be talking about today are definitely going to see it, but it's fine. Okay, so my sophomore year of high school, I had just started talking to this guy, and he had an ex-girlfriend of about like 2 weeks. Like, they were broken up for like 2 weeks. They dated for like 2 years, that type of thing. And she went to our school too, but I was never friends with her, never talked to her. And basically she found out that me and, I'm gonna call him Joe, that me and Joe started talking. She like texted me, like, hey girl, like we haven't really broken up yet, and like I think you're so gorgeous and stuff, but like basically we're still talking and everything. And I was just like, Obviously I asked Joe, I was like, are you guys like still talking, like should I back off, like whatever? And he was like, no, literally delete her number. And I was like, okay, period, like okay. And then basically fast forward like 3 months, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and we're dating for like a month at this point, I think. And then she basically like TP's my house, and it was like fine, like whatever, like I TP people's houses too at the time, like I didn't care really, but obviously I had to get her back. So me and a bunch of people TP'd her house, and I think we did a good job. I think we low-key ate her up. And I thought it was like done, because I was like, okay, we're even. I don't even know why you care at this point, because we've been dating for like a month, talking for like 4 months, but whatever, we're even. I don't care about it anymore. And fast forward like a month or two, I think it was like 2 months, and she TPs me again, but this time she like fucked up my house. Like she got that shit like fucked up. Like, I mean, saran wrap. We have like pillars outside my house. She saran wrapped them together and like threw ketchup everywhere and shit. And I was just like, oh, and I live like in the forest, by the way, so I have a lot of fucking trees. So I have a really good house to TP. Probably shouldn't say that, but I do. Anyways, my mom's like pissed, and then we're like looking at each other and we're like, yeah, we're not cleaning this shit up. So she calls the cops, and they come over and they're like, yeah, this is not okay. We're gonna go like to each of their houses who TP me, and then we're gonna go get them to clean it up. And that's exactly what they did. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I really enjoyed that part. Like, I love that they just spent all the money to fuck up my house, and then the next day I had to go clean all of it up. And we said it wasn't good enough, and they had to like keep doing it, and I was just enjoying myself, because that's on you, that's karma. Anyways, so it's like our junior year of high school now, and she basically turns like 15 girls in our grade like against me, because I'm a homewrecker for some reason. I never understood that part, because I've never talked to you. How am I a homewrecker if I've literally never talked to you? We were never friends. Like, I don't even know you. And basically, she has a whole new boyfriend at this point, literally for about like 2 months. It was like December, I think, of my junior year. And then one of her friends like makes a TikTok between me and her, and it's like, who would win in a fight? Like, and it's like her versus me, like I'm such a downgrade, whatever. And I was like, just like, I don't even talk to either of you. Like, that was the weirdest fucking shit I've ever seen. And low-key, she thought she turned like a bunch of girls in our grade against me, but every single party I ever went to, I had every single girl but her, obviously, because she still hates my guts. I don't really know why, but I have every single girl come up to me and they were like, I think you and Joe are so cute together. Like, she's crazy. The amount of friends that she has that has told me she's crazy is wild. Like, she wouldn't even believe it. So I was like I completely forgot about it. Me and my like ex, we were dating for like 2 years. Oh yeah, we're broken up now at this point. We've been broken up for a couple months now, but we're dating for almost 2 years, like a year and a half, and we were at this party. And then I see his ex, Joe's ex, she's glaring at me, looking me up and down, thinking she's eating. And I'm literally like, you still care? Like, what? I don't even know if I mentioned this part, but when she TP'd my house for a second time, it was literally so bad. And like she would post me on her story and like make fun of me, like make group chats about me, like constantly. Like I was the face of like one of her, like her and her friends, like background in our group chat, and I'm just like, bro. Then fast forward to the past summer, me and my ex break up, and they got together. Shocker. Ex-boyfriend got with his ex. Like, shocker. Wow. And I just want to like say this here, like now, I do not care about my ex. I don't care about his ex-girlfriend. I don't know if they're still talking. I don't know if they're dating. I blocked them on like mostly everything, so I don't really care. I've completely moved on. I just thought this was an interesting story to tell, so I have so much more to say. But honestly, we're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna leave it there. I'm all done with my makeup now, and I love you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this, then let me know if you want more high school lore, because I definitely have it. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!
I feel like it's a canon event to, at some point in your life, have one of those friends that, like, doesn't like you having other friends. They get mad if they find out you hung out with somebody else other than them, and, like, get upset if they're not invited to every single function you're at. Literally, the rules are always one way. Like, they can have as many friends as they want and, you know, hang out with other people besides you all the time, but the second you do it, it's like the end of the world, and how dare you hang out with somebody else? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I've never felt like left out from not being invited to something, but I have an understanding that just because I'm like friends or best friends with someone doesn't mean that I need to be invited to every single thing they do, and they're allowed to hang out with other people that aren't me. Crazy concept. But I was unfortunate enough to have one of these friends my senior year of high school, and it was actually awful because it wasn't just like the two of us were best friends and she got mad when I hung out with other people. We were in like a trio of 3 people, and essentially what would happen is she'd take turns like hanging out with us individually. Like she'd just hang out with me and then just hang out with the other girl like all the time. And then randomly, you know, like on the weekends or something, all 3 of us would hang out together. But we literally were not allowed to hang out without her. Like, it was basically an unspoken rule. Even though me and the other girl were like really close. One day, the girl who hung out with us both individually was out of town. And me and my other friend were both bored. So she's like, hey, do you want to like go get a drink and go shop? And I'm like, yeah, sounds great to me. We hang out and everything. And then all of a sudden, this friend that literally is like always on her phone and always like messaging us, doesn't message us for like 3 days. She then texts us a few days after ignoring us and lets us know that she's mad at us. And we're like, what did we do? Why are you mad? And she told us she was mad because we hung out without her. You're literally not even in the state right now. Like, how do you expect me to hang out with you if you're on vacation? You're literally nowhere near us. You're like 15 hours away. She basically just said that we shouldn't make plans without her. And me and my other friend were both just like, you hang out with us individually all the time. Like, and the one time we hang out without you, it's a problem. We just kind of ignore it and move on. And we're like, it's not that big of a deal. And like a couple weeks later, the 3rd girl who I never got to hang out with texts like the group chat with all 3 of us. And she's like, oh, do you guys want to go do this? The other girl said, oh, I already have plans with my other friend. And we're like, oh, okay, that's fine. So me and girl number 3 decide we're going to go do these plans together since girl number 2 said she can't. And yet again, girl number 2 gets pissed off that she wasn't included. You were literally invited. You said you're not going because you have plans with somebody else. Notice how when you said you had plans with another friend, we didn't get mad. We said, oh, okay, sounds good. But yeah, she got mad at us again and again gave us the silent treatment for a couple days and then told us how mad she was. And, you know, since this had happened multiple times now, me and friend number 3, we're just done with it. We're like, literally, we're allowed to hang out with who we want to hang out with. You can't control our schedules. At that point, the 2 of us were kind of done with her, but like we had been friends for so long. So it was one of those situations where it's like kind of hard to like completely let go. We would still like try to invite her to stuff all the time because we just felt bad like completely cutting her off. So one day, me and girl number 3 are talking, and girl number 3 is like, oh, I kind of want to get my nails done. And I'm like, you know what? Me too. So we're like, we should definitely invite girl number 2 because like I think she would probably also want to get her nails done with us. Girl number 3 texts and is like, hey, I'm wanting to get my nails done. Like, do you guys want to come with me? And girl number 2 is like, oh yeah, like I want to get my nails done too. That sounds so fun. So girl number 3 is like, okay, meet up at this nail salon at this time, blah, blah, blah. We'll all go together. Me and girl number 2 both respond and agree that that sounds like a good plan. But the time starts, approaching for us to meet at the nail salon. And me and friend number 3 get there, but friend number 2 is nowhere to be seen. Start like spam texting and calling her like, hey girl, like it's gonna start getting really busy soon. Like you should try and get here quick. I'm not even exaggerating when I say I texted her at least 200 times and called her probably like 50. And so I go into Snapchat and I'm sending her chats like, hey girl, like, are you coming? Like, are you on the way? You were supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. And I see that she's active, but she's not responding to anything I sent. So when I see that, I'm like, it's literally not my responsibility to make sure you get here when you committed to this. So I don't care. So I stopped texting her because that's not my fault. You're literally choosing to not respond to me. She finally texts back. Like 2 hours later, our nails were literally like getting wrapped up. Like they were putting the top coats on and like about to send us on our way. And she's like, okay, I'm coming now. I said, oh, our nails are actually both almost done. Like mine will already be done by then, but I'll like stay here and like we can just sit and chit chat while you're getting yours done. And she literally was like, oh, so you got your nails done without me? Well, yes. We all agreed to this time and you didn't show up. Like you're acting like you weren't invited, but I have the text showing that you were. You just tried to turn it into this whole thing of like, we didn't include her. I'm like, the funny thing is you literally were included and agreed to the plans and then didn't show up. So whose problem is that? Not mine. I can tell you that now. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like after this, me and the other girl never invited her to anything again because I'm like, I'm not going to try to make plans with you, have you agree to them, and then you not show up and try to make it seem like I am bullying you. Don't get why people act like this. Like, why are you allowed to have 7,000 friends and hang out with all of them, but none of them are allowed to have other friends? I don't know. Bye.
Get ready with me while I tell you embarrassing things I've done at school so you can feel better about yourself. Yes, I made a list. If I have a lisp, I have teeth whitening strips in, so we're going to ignore that. Starting off strong, I fell down the stairs. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. I didn't like face plant, but I like tripped because I thought I can be all nonchalant and cool and like text my friend while I'm walking down the stairs. So I'm typing. My foot slips because I'm wearing Uggs and I like jump down 2 steps. I'm like, okay, whatever. No one caught that. Kind of nonchalant. I keep on going. I do it again. I'm like, that's so embarrassing. I made it to the end of the stairs. I'm like, wow, that was embarrassing. My shoe falls off and I fucking trip. And I'm like tripping for a hot minute. I'm like walking and like just like falling as I'm walking. Well, sorry to anyone in the stairwell who had to witness me falling. Next, at lunchtime, I screamed at the top of my lungs and I started sobbing. So, like, a little back information, I'm horrified of bugs. Like, I hate them. I don't like ladybugs and I don't like butterflies, especially. I hate butterflies so much. So, there's a butterfly near me and it's, like, flying near the ground and it fucking scares the hell out of me. So, I start stomping on it so I can kill it. And my friend who loves bugs and loves butterflies screaming, no, no, no. So she picks it up and she starts chasing me with it. I'm running outside all over the back patio. Everyone's staring at me because my friend's chasing me with the butterfly and I'm literally screaming on the verge of tears and then she throws it at me. I screamed at the top of my lungs. Yes, I know it's stupid, but I really hate bugs. Like, I hate them. Anyways, I ran to my friend Kayla, and I jumped into her arms, and I shed a tear or 2. Love you, Kayla. This next one, I think about almost every single day, and I don't even understand how it happened, but it was genuinely the most embarrassing thing ever. So, for testing, you can be assigned to, like, different rooms, or you can be assigned to the gym. So I was assigned to the gym. So in the gym, they have these like little flimsy desks and then you have your separate chair. You can't sit on the desk. You can't like lean on the desk. None of that. So I'm there. I'm doing my exam. I'm doing whatever. Other desks have collapsed, but it wasn't It wasn't loud. It was just like, oh, well, their desk fell. How embarrassing. Anyways, I finished my test. I put my elbow on the desk. My elbow. Does it look heavy? No. I put my elbow on the desk. Boom. When I tell you, everyone whipped their heads around. Everyone thought it was a gunshot. Because did my desk collapse on one side and just like fold and close? No. The legs broke off from the table and it all slammed on the ground. And obviously, like, everything that was on my desk, like the 5 pens that they make you bring and the water bottle that I had rolls away, and like my papers fly away too, because why not? And then when your desk breaks or like something happens, they have to move your desk or like move where you're sitting. It's in the rules. I don't know why, but like I was literally done with my test at that point, but they think you're cheating, so they have to move your desk if it breaks. So I have to get up in front of the over 100 kids in this gym, walk all the way to the other side and sit my ass down in a different desk. I literally died of embarrassment, and I was also standing there for 5 minutes before they gave me a new desk because I thought they were going to let me sit in the same desk, so I was just waiting for the guy to fix the desk again. And literally, the guy drops the desk, so it slams again, and then everyone looks again. So I'm just there, standing there so awkwardly. It was so embarrassing, and afterwards, everyone kept on coming up to me and being like, keep your desk up. What happened to your desk? Shut the fuck up. Okay, so this next one goes out to Kaylee. Love you, broski. This is our shared trauma. So we had this girl. We were both in the same language arts class last year, and we had this girl in our class that we had like a friend crush on. Like, we wanted to be friends with this girl so bad. She's literally stunning, and she looks so sweet. She's adorable. Like, whoa, we wanted to be friends with her so bad. And then she's also in our 4th period this year. So we're like, you know what? This is our perfect opportunity. And like, she was sitting alone, so obviously we felt bad and we wanted to like go sit with her or like invite her to come sit with us. So we're like hyping ourselves up for literally like 20 minutes because we're like, what if she turns us down? And we're like, no, she wouldn't. She literally looks so nice. So we're hyping ourselves up to go talk to this girl and like ask her to sit with us or something. So we literally get up in front of the whole entire classroom, walk over to this girl and like start chatting with her. It's not like we came up to her and we're like, can you sit with us? Like, no. We were like talking with her. We're like, oh, you're in Miss Blank's class last year. Like we've talked to her before because she was in our class last year. But we're like, oh, you're in our class. So yeah, do you remember us? Hey, like we're sitting over there. If you ever want to come sit with us, whatever. She literally just like stares at us and just goes, no. We were so shocked. We didn't even like say anything. We just kind of looked at each other, got up, and walked away because that was so embarrassing. Like, I get it if we made her uncomfortable, and I get that, but like, oh my god, it was so embarrassing. Like, we just had to make the walk of shame back to our seats, and I guess we're not going to be friends with her because I don't know. I feel like she thought we were mean. We were laughing that whole period, but just because we're dumb. Like, I hope she didn't think we were laughing at her. This next one is another dedication to my fucking Uggs that literally, like, ruined my life at school because they're always falling off my feet. But I was walking through the doors, and my school's overpopulated, so, like, everyone's squished, and you're just getting, like, shoved through the doors. Anyways, my shoe comes off. Far away from the door? No. Before the door? No. In the doorway. My Ugg comes off. So I'm there trying to get my shoe back on. I can't. It's getting kicked around. I'm getting pushed. So I have to drop to the floor and pick up my shoe. Mind you, no one in the school gives a fuck. So I'm legit on the floor attempting to pick up my shoe. I'm getting stepped on. Kids don't stop and let me pick up my shoe. No, they're walking on top of me. Or like stepping over me. Not to mention the amount of times I've tripped in school wearing those Uggs. My number one op, for real. Also, teeth whitening chips are out. Do they look white? Obviously, we saved the best for last is when I face planted in school and broke a whole metal detector. So this is kind of hard to explain, but my school has metal detectors, and so you go through the first set, and if your bag doesn't beep, you can just walk through the first set of metal detectors and get in the school. If your bag beeps, you have to go around and get into the second set of metal detectors. So I'm walking with my friend, and we have a cheer comp or something that day. I don't even remember. Or I had cheer, I don't know. So I have cheer, and I'm walking all my cheer bag, and obviously I have like a metal can of hairspray and a whole hair straightener. So the metal detector goes off. I'm like, okay, I expected it to. I keep on walking. I go through the second one. It beeps, and it's not supposed to beep the second time around. So the lady starts making me take everything out of my bag, and so I take everything out of my bag. She's like, walk through again with just your school bag. So I'm walking through. Then she starts saying something to me as I'm walking through. So I turn around. Do I stop walking to talk to her? No, I keep on walking this way. I trip over a metal detector. These huge things. I trip over it. Fully face plant with my backpack on too. So it's like, my backpack's so heavy, so it's like full force to the ground. My friend described it as my head legit like boing, like bouncing off the ground. And I also knocked over the metal detector, so there's that. And then I had to wait like 10 minutes for her to reset the whole thing because I fucking broke it. Anyways, not a lot of people witnessed that, luckily, but it was still so embarrassing. And I was literally dying laughing, so it was kind of funny. And I scratched my knee. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys feel better about yourselves.
To stalk my TikTok or something. I also might take this down if it flops or if it's too controversial, if I decide. And yeah, so I hope you have a wonderful day. And I love you. Jesus loves you so much. And yeah, get ready with me. And today I'm going to be giving you guys a story time on just like my relationships. Everything that I say is going to be like random about different people, I guess. And if you're mentioned, I'm sorry, but we did have a relationship, so I do have a story. And I also have literally been in the trenches. Like, I have gone through so many awful relationships, so I have like oh, my earring. Okay, I have so much to share. Okay, so starting way down at the beginning, like almost 4 years ago, I like dated this kid, and I'm not even kidding you. I was so young, but it did not feel like I was young in that relationship. Like, I was so bad. And I literally did not get over this kid for like 2 years. It was so bad. I have never ever gone through that since. Like, I have but I have basically never struggled to get over someone necessarily. Not like that I'm saying I move on, but I have not been like stuck on someone in so long. I don't know if that sounds bad, but like I just don't sit there and like ponder about it for forever. Whenever I was younger, I don't know what I was doing, but I hung out with so many boys that were 2 grades above. Like, it was in 8th grade and freshman year. 8th grade, I hung out with so many sophomores, and freshman year, I didn't hang out with as many, but I hung out with like a lot of like juniors. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know, but it's what I did. And then after that, I took a break from the older men for a little bit, luckily. Then I went right back and started dating a boy 2.5 years older than me. 2.5. At 15, my boyfriend was 18 years old. When I tell you, never again in my whole entire life, unless I'm like 50, because that's like not bad, like, will I have a boyfriend 2.5 years older than me. You are at 2 completely different stages of your life. You want 2 completely different things most of the time. And that age gap sets such a bad dynamic between the relationship, because you like are, it's like a power dynamic. Like, whether you realize it or not, it's a power dynamic. And some people can have a relationship without that, sure. Me personally, I did not. I know that I had a power dynamic. I wouldn't say that I was controlled. I would say that I was
controlled. And in the moment, I was like, no, I love him. I'm going to get married to him. But like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, stand up for yourself. That, however, that boy wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't that bad. My worst trenches of the trenches, worst relationship literally ever that I've ever gone through. And I hope that I never, ever, ever go through again. This boy called me names. Like, that's the first time I've ever been actually in a toxic relationship. Like, he called me names. He couldn't take no for an answer. Like, he literally called me, like, a whore and, like, a bop and, like, a slut. Like, he literally called me those names. He actually literally just made a TikTok with like text from that in it, because I mean it goes with the trend and I'll never see him again. And so he literally was like, oh my gosh, so horrible. And if you magically see this, I'm sorry, like, you're not like, I'm sorry, but the relationship was so bad. But yeah, he would literally just like text me, and like if he was mad, he would just like cuss me out and everything. And I am very, like, my faith is very, very important to me. And his faith was not important to him in the beginning. And I don't know why, but I still was like, okay, no, like, it's fine, like, whatever. He started going to church and everything. And at the end, I'm sorry to put this person on blast, but told me that God told him it was time to asked me to get back together, and I said no. And I was just like, I don't think that God told you to get back to, like, to ask me, because I said no. Like, I didn't want to get back together. Maybe it was so that he could, like, get over me or something, but I don't know. I have dated, like, a few, like, angels, and I just never like the angels. Like, I don't know why. I feel like I'm, like, toxic, but I never ever can, like, stay in a relationship with them. And I don't know if, like, I don't know why. But yeah, so I have so many more horror stories. Oh, forever ago, I can't believe that I left this out. I got cheated on, and it wasn't that deep. I was literally a freshman, the beginning of my freshman year. But if you don't know, I made a video, like, of me breaking up with him, and I never posted the video. If I did, when I do, I should say, it'll go viral. But I made the video, and I made, like, a get ready with me breaking up with him viral. I think it has 5 million views. It has like 600,000 something likes. It still gets likes every day, comments every day. Like, people still comment on my TikTok and are like, I know you from whenever you broke up with your boyfriend. Like, you're doing so much better now. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm doing so much better. Like, I'm not dating a loser. But yeah, no. So I did have that happen, and I did whatever it's called, like, capitalize off it, I guess. I haven't used this lip liner in so long, and I feel like my lips are so dark right now. I don't like it. One kid I liked for, like, so long, such a long time, and then whenever we finally, like, got together, it was so, like, it was so bad. And I remember, I don't know why, but I cried over that so much. Like, I was so upset for so long. And I feel like with just me saying that, nobody would necessarily know who it is, because that could apply to, like, multiple people. I'm trying not to, like, drop too much lore. Like, I'm trying to, for some people, because I'm trying to keep it a little bit, like, inconspicuous on who I'm talking about. But some of them, I mean, you already know. Like, some of them it's bad, but gosh. My one boyfriend told me that essentially, this isn't exactly it, but if we cuddled and I was, like, too close to him, then that meant that I wanted to, like, have, like, intercourse. And keep in mind, I want to wait till marriage. But he told me that if I did that, then that means that I wanted that. So I wasn't allowed, because then he wouldn't be able to control himself. And let me tell you, that made me mad. Because what do you mean? I like to cuddle. What do you mean? So yeah, now I don't even like to cuddle with people anymore, because, yeah. I have so much more like lore though, and I tried to keep it kind of like respectful in this video. And so if you want any more lore, let me know. If you're still watching all the way till the end, comment down below the broken heart emoji, because that is literally my heart after surviving these actual like monsters. And before you ask, yes, I've had a lot of relationships. I can't help it. I have one, it doesn't work out. I try to stay single. I'm single for like 2 months, and then I'm in a new relationship, and I hate that I do that. I absolutely hate it because it always goes wrong. Trying to fix that this time, the thought of a man literally repulses me. I don't snap anyone, I don't text anyone, I don't talk to anyone, I don't hang out with anyone. Like, I am like really single and trying to keep it that way, so please don't bully me. But yeah, if you watch all the way to the end, you're seriously a real one. Like I said, I try to keep it PG, respectful. I have a feeling that half these people are gonna see this, because I feel like some of them stalk my TikTok, I'm not gonna lie. Or at least have like friends that stalk my TikTok, or like girls that stalk my TikTok or something. I also might take this down if it flops or if it's too controversial, if I decide. And yeah, so I hope you have a wonderful day, and I love you. Jesus loves you so much, and